Have you heard of the fine-tuning argument?
I do not think so, no.
So the fine-tuning argument is essentially the most used. It's the most understood and creditable argument for the existence of God. And the reason is, if you look at essentially all of the things that it takes for this world to be the way that it is, if you were to move any pull of force or any push of this or any of the things that create the planet, all of gravity and all the rest of it, I don't have the interesting words to put there. If you were to move them even a hair's width away from where they are balanced now, the universe would either implode or explode. It wouldn't be habitable. It would, upon conception, it would have essentially gone and wouldn't have existed. And the argument that people use, the fine-tuning argument, is the fact that things are so precise as to enable this. They speak of as a viable explanation of God, of someone, the fine-tuning, as in someone sat there and made this the way that it is.
Yeah. Okay.
It's interesting to look at the fact that the world is so perfectly placed. It's so, everything is exactly as it needs to be for this to be.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It almost sounds like, when talking about how things are so perfectly placed, it's giving me sort of like it's bordering onto parallel universe topics.
In what sense?
So, say for example, like what you said, like, what was it? Was it a pin?
Yeah, it less than an amount that I can make there. It's an infinitesimal amount. The difference there, if the pull of gravity, or whichever, you know what I'm trying to say, was any different, the universe couldn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could possibly say that there could be, for example, when I say it's bordering onto parallel universes, there could be a parallel universe that has where gravity is completely different in space.
Right.
It could, like, even if it has space, like, it's weird. I like that argument. I do like it.
What do you like it on? What, the basis of a God explanation?
Yes, but like, I mean, like, it's a great argument, but I hate to break it to them, but there's scientific evidence.
well, it's the most debated topic on planet Earth, on this great planet Earth.
Yeah,
I think it amazes me actually how people can believe in God on this basis, because I think Alex O'Connor is someone that I've been getting into a lot recently.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen him, he is brilliant.
Okay.
And we'll get further into that. And he made a fantastic point that, yeah, of course, the fine-tuning argument of the fact that everything is so perfectly poised for this existence to be created, yeah, that makes sense. But if it wasn't the way that it was, we wouldn't know anything about it, because the universe wouldn't exist. So you couldn't. There is no seemingly hypothetical scenario in which we're a fraction of a centimetre that way, and thus you and I are not having this conversation. We wouldn't be having the conversation. We wouldn't have been conceived. The world wouldn't exist, because it wouldn't. The fine-tuning argument sort of falls in on itself on that basis, because you can't explore the hypothetical, because there isn't one.
No.
If it wasn't the way it was, the universe wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I do think it's disappointing, actually, when people attribute such amazing reality to something like religion, because I think it's already as amazing. It's amazing in itself, the fact that you've got that existence. You know, you don't need to explain it via a long-haired, bearded, overseeing, omnipotent presence in the sky looking down. It doesn't need to be that. Is it not incredible enough that it is the way that it is?
Yeah.
You know, it defies explanation in itself, I feel.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people miss. about space now, especially everyone that, like, when they're like, oh, these lights are so pretty, like, light pollution.
Yeah.
You're like, you can have all of the light pollution you want. You can believe in God all you want. You can think of the fine-tuning argument all you want. Stop thinking about that and just go to a place that has no light pollution at all and just look up.
And what will you see?
You will see, in my opinion, one of the greatest sights that any human will ever see. And the fact that people do not do it enough frustrates me.
Yeah, I can well understand.
And it makes me wish that the power grid went out.
Yeah.
because then there would be no light pollution anywhere.
Claiming apocalypse for the sake of beauty.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would just stand there in the middle of a riot if the power grid ran out. I'd stand in the middle of a riot and I'd just be looking at the sky.
The stars as a Molotov cocktail comes flying over your head.
It's a shooting star.
Oh shit, that's close.
Yeah, because you will see the galaxy. You'll see the Milky Way like stripes.
Yeah.
It's genuinely incredible, and
it is incredible.
And the fact that people don't take enough time to do that because they're too busy arguing about religion.
Yeah.
It just baffles me.
It's a great shame. I actually think, I mean, we're all here for the same reason, essentially. We have our different routes of going about it, but everyone is here for the purpose of acquiring happiness. We all want to live a good life. We all want to enjoy the world that we find ourselves in. I think it's a great shame that the perennial question and the consistent desire is... There's a very simple answer that is posed to everyone, and yet most people don't actually capitalise on it and take the chance. If you looked around and really paid attention to the world that you were in, you couldn't tell me that you wouldn't have more joy than if... When I was walking Clyde earlier, I was walking down this really, really lovely little bit. There's an orchard field up there, and it's lovely. And I was walking down this road, and you had all these trees coming over, and the sun was shining through it. It was beautiful. And I stopped and just looked up and really just took it in, really just took a moment just to look around and be present in my head and think about where it was that I was. And I see a woman come up looking straight down on her phone for the duration of this path. Mm-hmm. And I said good morning to her. She said good morning. And I thought, well, in actual fact, I said good morning. She went good morning like that and straight to the phone. And I thought, you and I are passing the exact same area of the world. Mm-hmm. One of us is thinking, isn't this amazing that I'm in this place? And I'm not putting any thoughts into her head. I don't know what she was thinking. She might have been looking at her phone and thinking, isn't this amazing that I can have this around me whilst I'm on my phone? Yeah. You know, I can't actually attest to what it was that she was thinking, but I can't help but feel that my enjoyment of that situation was greater than hers because I was just looking around. And it's such a consistent thing that if you go on a walk and really pay attention to what it is that you're doing, really pay attention to the just essentially existing, and understand the fact that you are a part of this universe, you are here, existing in this very moment. How many people really have? We're all guilty of this, some more than others, of essentially being kind of neurotically comatized. We don't pay attention to the fact that we're actually existing. How often does someone sit and go, I'm sat in a coffee shop at the moment, just having a coffee. It's a nice morning, sun's shining outside, don't have anything to do today. How many people actually do that? Or are you bounded up in what's happening next or what's happened before?
Yeah. Or what you've got to sort out.
Yeah.
To progress
what
to the
needs
next
to be
step.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. We consistently put ourselves on the other side of these goals. What needs to be done to enjoy something?
Yeah. It's like, you know me and my sunsets.
Yes.
Yeah. Love a good sunset.
Yeah.
99% of the time, I'll say, every single time when I went to Ashdown Forest to go watch a sunset last summer, every single time, and bearing in mind I went practically every day, I barely saw any other people.
Yeah.
And if I did see other people, they weren't taking in the sunset. They were probably smoking weed or doing drugs.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's a story for another day.
But it's like, I turn up sober. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read the book. I'm gonna read my book. I'm just gonna chill. You know, not gonna go on my phone, and just take in the sunset. The only time when I go on my phone is to take a photo of the sunset.
Yeah.
just so I had the photo.
Yeah.
Just so I can remember like how good the sunset was. If it wasn't a good sunset, then I wouldn't really bother. But
whilst we're here, though, I'd like to make a point of that. See what you think of this. Yesterday, I was sat up in my room and I was in my nice little recliner, reading a book. Had Bonnie next to me, Clyde on the floor. I just felt nice about the place that I was in the world. I was I had that window of feeling where you think, yeah, this is nice. I'm where I would like to be.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I went to reach for my phone. I thought, I'm going to take a picture of this because I want a picture of this. And I didn't take a picture of it. And the reason I didn't take a picture was because I thought the only thing I can get from taking a picture of this is to look back and think, oh, wasn't that a nice time? And I can't help but feel in the process of doing that, if the day comes when I look back and go, oh, how nice was this, that I'm only going to reminisce in a way that's going to take me out of the moment that I'm in when I'm looking at that picture. So I'll look at it in 2 years' time, and you know, I think maybe I'm not having such a good day on that day, and I think, oh, it's 2 years ago now, and I know that my mind is now going to think, oh, where are those 2 years gone? Have I been progressing in the right direction since those 2 years? I wonder, you know, I'm 2 years closer to not having the dogs anymore. All of these things are going to start coming through because of looking backwards.
Yeah.
So I didn't take the picture because I thought, in actual fact, it's almost taking away from what it is that I'm trying to do now. This is the moment to enjoy. I can't enjoy this moment again. I can look at a picture of it, but all I'm going to feel is a reminiscing, a nostalgia, not what I'm feeling now. Yeah. It won't be the same feeling. There'll be a distance as a result of it.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I do agree. Because obviously, as we know, what was going on with me last summer, with the very serious personal issues, I obviously, because that was going on during that time, and that was really the main reason why I went to go watch the sunset so much, because it just got me out. I do agree with that, because sometimes when I do look back at all the photos that I've taken over summer, it's like the ones that was with you and Ethan and Abby, Summer and Alex and us as a group as well. I do sit back. I do sit there and think, God, like, the fact that all of this great stuff happened in the time of when all of this shit stuff was going on. Like, that can't be right. It just feels like it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And the fact that in... second month now. 3 months' time, it will be a year ago since what went down happened. Is absolutely crazy.
It's mental.
It's gone so quickly. It's ridiculous. And obviously, like, it's not like a reminiscing thing. I would not want to reminisce.
It's a recognition.
Yeah, because I still remember the day when it happened clearly.
Yeah.
I still remember what happened clearly, and I know, like, when I mention it to people now, especially like Abby, Summer, and Alex, I get like, they'll let me speak, but then I'll just get told, look, it was almost a year ago now. Yeah. Just chill. Yeah. But like, I am chill about it. Like, I don't care. I was angry at the time when it happened, but I also didn't care when it happened at the same time. Like, yeah, I was out a lot, etc., and I was out more than usual, but it didn't bother me because I know that I didn't actually do that. So yeah, yeah, it just, I don't know.
Fair enough.
It's just crazy. Mental.
It's very difficult, I find, to look back on times that have gone and not have a negative association with them.
Yeah.
I find that even, actually, rather than even, probably especially joyous occasions, I'll look back. There's one consistent thought that I have, or not consistent, but it fleets every few weeks or so. Of I'm sat in the living room. I've got Martha cuddled up with me. I've got my mum. I've got my sister, Tash, Richard. Everyone's there, and we're watching a movie, all having a lovely time. And I remember sitting there thinking, if only I could have a sort of snapshot in my head now. I couldn't get my phone, and it wouldn't have made sense to get my phone. You would just be sat there looking like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, just a bit like an idiot.
And I thought, if only I could capture this moment. And the same thought occurred. I thought, this is this moment. The only way that you can capture this moment is by being here now. And I think on that basis, I think it's very difficult to get around the nostalgic lens of the world, because you can't help but look back. The whole point of enjoying life, or not the whole point as such, but you do come to a point when you look back. The essence of our life leads us to a point where we look back. When you're 90, you're not going to be fucking jumping down swimming slides and having a whale of a time. You're going to be looking backwards. And the form that you might take of that is speaking to your grandchildren about what happened. Granddad, what happened when you were going through COVID? So you can't help but look back. But I equally well, I think it's very difficult not to look back without feeling some form of either I wish I was there, or wow, how much time has gone. And I think that is, I think the thought process of how much time has passed between where we are and where we were is a very destructive thought process. I notice it, of course, with it's coming up on nearly a year now since me and Ella broke up, and I've consistently, I mean, that has essentially been the mental landscape of mine for the last year. And I was thinking about it recently. I thought, fucking hell, I actually found it very difficult to recognise where it was where I went from being all of the things that I didn't want to be this time last year to now. Where did it come? Of course, it's not as simple as that. You kind of fall into it. It goes in micro movements in that direction. But if I look back at, as I naturally will at this time of year, I look back at that and think, God, it's a year ago now. And I've got a bit of I have this sort of strange jealousy of my former self, of the fact that I know that I enjoy my world now. I know that I have done things that have made me really enjoy the complexion of my mind. And I can look back to when that wasn't the case this time last year, when I was really not having such a fun time, and think, you've got that all to come. All of the joy that I've had over the last year, me a year ago has had yet to come. Last year was probably the best year of my life. And on that basis, I'm looking back with a sort of a nostalgic jealousy at myself. And on this basis, I think it's very difficult to look backwards without causing some sort of mental, not necessarily turmoil, but tension. If there's anything at the door, it's not supposed to be there, so don't worry. Clyde can stay there if he wants to stay there. I noticed it with COVID. I look back, and in actual fact, COVID was unequivocally the worst time of my life. I hate on me in COVID. I was out of shape, out of sorts, not where I wanted to be. I just genuinely was not happy. But I can look back and think, what a strange little corner of life, little period of time. I'll look back and think you're spending pretty much every day just down the park playing football, and I'll look back and think, that was nice. But then I know that I didn't like being there. I didn't enjoy that time. And I wouldn't rather be there now. If you said to me, do you want to do that or do this? I go, I'd much rather have the quality of mind I have now than be fat and depressed. But you can't help but look backwards with that, I wish I was there.
Yeah. What you were saying? I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. What you were saying about you sat down with Richard, etc., and that you wanted to capture that moment. That you could apply that to when you were walking down that trail earlier this morning.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
It's you have it falls into the place of what you were saying about that woman who was just locked to her phone. Like, she wasn't conscious, almost, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's passive living.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I do agree as well with the COVID comment you were making.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, the COVID comment is I can agree with that 100%, because I can't remember who I was talking to someone about it at work, and I said to them, I was like, do you know, like, COVID was pretty chill because we just got to relax all day, every day. We had hot weather as well. Literally, we had a hot, 6 months.
Yeah, but on that basis, I can stand as witness of the fact that you might have enjoyed that time more than I did, but I know that you were not in a relationship at the time that was particularly joyous, and yet you can still look and go, oh, it's pretty chill.
Yeah.
But I know from conversation at the time that it wasn't laid back. It
wasn't
a cushy
like
living.
Whereas now it's because your mindset's changed.
Yeah.
And your life is different. You expect that if you were to go back, your life would be how it is now.
You want to be who you are now. Then.
Yeah.
I think that's what nostalgia essentially is. It's you trying to be who you are now. Because think about when you look backwards. You quite often look backwards when you're not feeling so happy now.
Yeah.
That's a very consistent thing. Something will go wrong and you'll think, how many people do it when they have a midlife crisis? Is essentially the quintessential example of looking backwards.
Yeah.
You're trying to capture something that was there that is no longer.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't help but have that rose-tinted glasses effect when you look backwards. But you do. You're not looking back at who you were then.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking back at the
time,
the scenario, and then you're kind of sandboxing yourself in there. Like you today could be in 2020. Well, you can't. The only way that you as a person, you who sits in that chair, can exist as you in that chair is by once being the person who was not so happy in 2020.
Yeah.
It's the progression.
Yeah.
It can't exist.
Maybe we should just start another pandemic then we can test it out.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was... I think the pandemic is probably the strangest period of the last...
Probably since...
At least 20 years. At least.
Yes. I would personally say health-wise and... Well, yeah. Health-wise and hygiene-wise, definitely since the Spanish flu.
Well, yeah.
Which is exactly 100 years before that.
Yeah, but conspiracy theory. But I mean, I remember my mum spraying Amazon parcels when they came through the door.
Oh, yeah.
Cleaning them off.
Don't get me started. My mum did the exact same thing, but with I think it was like cans.
Yeah.
She just started spraying cans down.
What are you doing?
I just come
this
downstairs.
Can give me a cold. This can could give me a cold the same way that any other fucking can, any other time of existence can give you a cold.
Yeah,
I think COVID stands as... There was a really interesting podcast I was listening to about existential threat, and it was talking about how COVID as a period of time is a sort of a test run for potential terrorist biochemical activity, in the sense that, let me tie this up, that's a little bit rough around the edges. We now know for a fact that you can impair the entire global market. You can keep everyone in their houses. You can keep everyone away from each other and drastically increase the depression rates, the happiness of the world with a cold. You can rebrand a cold and all of a sudden you can fuck the world up.
Yeah.
You know, in actual fact, I don't know my statistics on this, but between the amount of businesses that were failed, the amount of people that were plunged into particularly dark periods of their lives, and just generally the global state, I know that the market was by no means as strong as it should have been at that time. I mean, you can even look at the NHS and how much stress there was there. It still stands as an absolute issue now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But Sam was talking about the fact that stands as the perfect example of the fact that, say you had an Al-Qaeda, an ISIS sort of group think, do you know what, rather than just cutting people's heads off in high resolution and sending it to the West, why don't we just impair the West? Why don't we just collapse the Western market? And on that basis, what COVID's percentage of what's the word? The death rates of COVID is a very small percentage of people actually died as a result of COVID. Now, you can speak it on what you like about how many people died of pneumonia, say, and it was attributed to COVID. And on that basis, the number that we've got is probably actually exacerbated.
Yeah.
You would need if you had a 20% mortality rate on a biochemical weapon, you could end the world. You could quite feasibly put the world into an absolute state of panic. How many people, and this is something that COVID didn't have, that you would have with a higher mortality rate, is how many people would be going to work if they knew they had a 1 in 6 chance of dying if they got a flu? No one would. Would you go to work if you thought, if I go in, to put it very, very crudely, if I go in 6 days this week, there's a reasonable chance that I get a cold that could kill me. Would you go to work? No. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't want to.
So how many people would? And on that basis, how many markets are going to come crashing down? How many markets are going to fall flat on their face?
Yeah.
COVID was actually... I mean, I don't know. I don't think anyone particularly knows exactly what was going on with why the restrictions were the way they were with COVID, given the fact it was essentially just a rebranded flu.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could potentially become a real issue because of what it has presented, because it has shown people it doesn't take much to ruin the world.
No.
It wouldn't take a lot.
It's very easy to ruin the world, and it's very easy to put the general public in a state of panic.
Yeah.
Because you remember when everyone was practically fighting for toilet roll.
Exactly.
Why are people fighting for toilet roll?
Well, because it was considered a real concern. It was something that I might not be able to get hold of. Think of that on a high. What about if we're talking about perishable goods now might have toxins in them? Well, people aren't going to be touching any of that. That's all going to go. So everyone's going to be going for canned food, which they would anyway. So you're going to run out of food. You know, if you just flipped that the other way and something was potentially drastic enough that people go, fuck this, I'm not going outside, you're going to run out of food. So you're not going to be talking about toilet paper. That's the least of your concerns. You're now talking about, shit, I can't get my chopped tomatoes for the bolognese tonight. I can't, what am I going to do now?
It just reminds me of what Neil deGrasse Tyson said. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he was talking about what he would do if aliens visited the Earth. Yeah. And what he'd tell them and what he'd show them. Yeah. And he'd be fucking embarrassed because everyone would fight over toilet paper if a pandemic happened.
What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Like, there are so many more essential things to fight over, in my opinion, than toilet paper.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, if I had to let one of the things I really needed go, it would probably be toilet paper. But do you know what? I can do without that. There's a bush outside.
Exactly.
Do you know what I heard? There was something my dad was telling me about yesterday on this basis. It was so fucking stupid about the world. There's this plant. So basically, this guy, I think it was in Australia, he took a shit in the wild.
Oh god!
He got a plant, right? He got a plant.
Yeah.
Wiped his ass with it. This plant is like the most fucking toxic.
Does it kill you? Is it that plant?
No, it doesn't kill you. It was fucking awful. It's like the one plant you don't want to stick up your ass. This man managed to cherry pick perfectly, and he shot himself because it was so painful.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, imagine the world he was in for the thought process. Fuck this, my arse hurts so much. You know,
I'm gonna shoot myself.
I'm gonna shoot myself.
Didn't bother calling an ambulance. No.
Fuck this, I'm done. On the point that I want to round this out with is, there are animals that eat that plant. Why do they eat that plant? It stands as so consistently across the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
There'll be this one thing that kills everything that you think, fuck that, I'm not eating that, I'm not touching that, I'm not wiping my ass with that. And some stupid little dung beetle will come along and go,
I like that.
I like that. That's all right, actually. Good. That's not bad. I'll have that.
Yeah,
one.
I think...
I'll only eat that.
I think it's because of... So... Dogs, for example, they can eat, like, raw chicken.
We can eat raw chicken.
Yeah.
We can eat raw meat. We can eat
raw meat, it just have a bit of a consequence to it.
No, you can eat raw meat. You wouldn't want to do it consistently, but you can.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm talking, like, consistently, sorry.
Oh,
I probably should have made that a bit more obvious.
I'm not so sure there.
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah, like consistently. If we ate raw chicken for a week consistently, and dogs ate raw chicken for a week consistently, they would be fine.
They'd be laughing.
Because they have different toxins in their stomach which can neutralise things like salmonella.
Yeah.
Whereas us, we don't have those.
It's a long day.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
Probably hospital as well.
But on that basis, we can chow down on a Tony's chocolate bar.
We can.
And a dog gets murked. A dog has a serious... He go, oh, fuck this. I don't want this. I'm going to shoot myself.
Yeah, that's true, actually. You raise a good point. You raise a really good point.
I know why it's the way it is, but it's strange why it's the way that it is. It's weird that the animal... It's specifically the animal kingdom, I find. It just has this... Such a strange way of coexisting. These things are so... You know, I was watching... David Attenborough's got a series out called Asia, which I'm sure you can probably kind of read between the lines as to what it's about. And there's this plant that's yeah, exactly, America. Yeah. And there's this plant that belongs in the same family as the Venus flytrap. It opens up, allures, and things fall into it. It's essentially, it sits like that. It will open up, and the tops of it is very slippery. So you have little bugs will come and sit on the side of it because they've got a little... You've got that like that, and you've got a little thing that comes over there, and they try and get to this. They go on the sides, and they fall in, and there's an acidic pool in there, which is essentially the stomach of the plant.
Ah, right, yeah.
And it will dissolve and then go into the plant, and of course the plant gets bigger. Now, there's a mouse or some sort of rodent that comes along and only wants that plant. That it will come along, chow down on that plant. It can't fall into the plant because it's too big.
It's too big.
The negotiation that has sort of occurred is plant opens up, sees rodent come along, rodent come do the thing. Rodent eats this, rodent shits in there, and that gets the nutrients from that. They go along happy on their own days. So there has been a negotiation there of, look, I can't eat you, and you want to eat me. So I'll let you have that. I'll open up, you just drop a parcel in, and we'll sort it out. No problem. It amazes me that things coexist the way that they do in nature.
Yeah, well, it's the food chain, isn't it, really?
It is the food chain, but the food chain is not a chain. The food chain's fucking like this. It's not a chain like that.
It's like, this can eat all of these, but this can't eat those.
Yeah, or man up here is a fucking idiot compared to all of these if you take away his brain. No, you don't even have to take away the brain. You just put him somewhere where he
just
can't
put a human down.
When he can't get access to metal and he's fucked. Yeah. You put man in the Sahara Desert. You put Einstein in the Sahara Desert, and you can go, look. Oh wow, man! Look at the
survive.
Look at the marvelous brain on this man. He can work out all of these fantastic equations. He could definitely make a tool. Yeah, tiger, lion comes along, goes, "Excuse me, Albert, you're not having that. This is not working anymore." Yeah, it amazes me actually when people say humans are top of the food chain or man is top of the food chain. yeah, we are top of the food chain because of our brain capacity.
Yep.
We can do amazing things as a result of our brain. That's no new news to anyone. But there's such a caveat that is required to make that the case. If you put more than 99% of humans anywhere in the world that is not suburban or at least human inhabited, you're fucked. If you or I got dropped in the middle of the woods in England, we'd probably have a difficult time getting out.
Yeah, we would.
And there's nothing here that can kill us except the weather for quite a long time. We'd have to be out there a while for the weather to be an issue, and starvation. That is basically all that can kill you here.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we would still have a serious problem.
I mean, we've got adders.
Adders. Oh wow,
Yeah,
I'm terrified. Can you see my hand shaking? No, we don't have it. No, but the point is,
No,
I mean, you look on any other place in the world, and you don't, or not any other place, but a lot of other places. I didn't know that polar bears lived in Alaska. So there's polar bears in America.
Yeah, they'll maul you to death.
If you get dropped, they won't maul you to death. They'll molest you to death.
They start to sneak up on you.
Yeah,
Very,
I mean
sneaky.
that in itself terrifies me. That fucking thing. I'm going in the Joe Rogan Avenue here talking about bears. That 10-foot beast can somehow sneak up on you. How the fuck can that thing sneak?
Yeah, and it weighs tons as well.
I know.
The fact that it weighs tons and it can have like silent
inches thick skin.
With silent footprints, just for you to then turn around because you'd lost, just to see.
Oh, for fuck's sake! What are you doing here? Go away.
Yeah,
go away.
It's mental.
Do you know, on that basis, there was another thing I saw. It was really interesting adaptation to a snake. There's a snake that lives in Syria, I believe it is, who curls up in a ball and sits into a rock. It's got fantastic camouflage, really? So you can't. That's not the interesting part. So you'll have just a little crevice and it will dig itself in there, and it's got fantastic camouflage. You and I wouldn't be able to see it.
No.
And it's got an appendage, sort of an annexed part of its body on the end of its tail that has a bulbous part and then sort of legs like that, and it looks exactly like a spider. And what the snake does is it waves its tail, kind of the end of it like that, and birds will see it and think, oh, there's a spider.
Oh yes.
Bird comes down, tries to get it. Cobra comes around. Long day. Done.
Yes. I remember, I'm pretty sure the other day I saw something about this because my Instagram For You page is quite questionable.
Yeah.
It's full of just spiders. Don't really know why.
Probably because you've been looking at spiders.
Spiders and tarantulas, but they're really interesting. So
spiders are tarantulas.
No, they're two different.
What do you mean they're two different things?
So spiders are, Black Widow.
Yeah.
And then you've got tarantulas.
Are tarantulas different to spiders? How? They look exactly
the
same.
I'm not entirely sure how. Spiders build webs, tarantulas build burrows.
Ah, so there is a difference. I did
not know that. There is a difference. There are only some spiders that do build burrows, like the trapdoor spider.
So what does a tarantula belong to? If you've got
still the arachnid.
I know arachnids, but I mean, you've got spider, but you've got spider as the group, but underneath that you've got black widow, you've got other spider that's not black widow, and you've got other spider that's not black widow, and you've got tarantula. So is tarantula spider, or is tarantula spider? Do you see what I'm saying?
Is it a type of spider?
Is a tarantula a type of something? Or is a tarantula just a tarantula?
A tarantula is just a tarantula, but the Goliath bird eater.
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
but I don't
it's
know.
Basically it is. We call it
fucking bird eater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It eats birds.
Fuck that.
So it's a tarantula, but obviously the name, we actually call it the Goliath bird-eating spider. It's really confusing and it's really weird and it gets on my nerves because it is a tarantula. But yeah, I would personally say tarantulas are. I guess it's sort of a thing that everyone has their own opinion on it, really. Whether tarantulas are a type of spider or spiders are a type of tarantula.
Yeah, but I mean, on this basis, opinion would be wrong. There's, you can have your opinion, but if a tarantula is not a spider, then your opinion doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's true. yeah. No, I was gonna say a tarantula is its own thing.
Yeah,
it's just part of the arachnid family, because if you think about it as well, like a scorpion's part of an arachnid family.
Yeah.
So.
Are centipedes part of arachnids?
That's a great question.
I can't remember.
I think so.
Well, no, I don't know whether arachnid is 8-legged or more than 8-legged.
No, because scorpion's only 6.
Oh, it might be so. Oh,
6 or more.
I don't know if it's 6. I'm sure. I thought it was 8-legged. Is the criteria for arachnid?
Scorpion is definitely not a reptile.
No, it is an arachnid.
Yeah.
Fucking thing. Well, I mean, why does that exist?
Yes. Why does it exist? What spiders are scary enough as it is. But something with
but the funny thing
6 of the legs, 2 pinchers, and a stinger.
The funny thing is, though, I wouldn't be as scared of a scorpion as I would be a black widow. I mean, in all fairness, a black widow can kill me. A scorpion, I don't know if a scorpion could kill me.
It can.
Can it?
Depends on the size.
But it's probably less likely.
The smaller the scorpion is, the more deadly it is.
Little fuckers.
The larger it is, the less deadly it is.
Alright, don't worry
about backwards. It's really weird.
But I'm definitely not as scared of a scorpion as I am of a spider.
I've never seen a scorpion, so I couldn't tell you.
I know I'm not. I know for a fact I'm not. Because though I haven't seen one, actually tell a lie, I'm pretty sure when I was a child I've eaten one of them. So I have seen one.
Nice.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
I'm sure I've eaten one of them. I'm sure I have. I know I'm not scared. If I look at a picture online of a black widow, I go, oh, look at that fucking horrible little thing.
You should
Scorpion, I go, it's alright.
You should look at the Brazilian wandering spider.
I feel like I definitely know the name.
They are like hell sends. I swear to God, they are hellhounds.
Yeah,
literally, they are fucking awful. They not only obviously wandering spider, it wanders. It's like a huntsman spider. It doesn't build a web. Wanders along the grounds, in the leaves, in the trees. Luckily, it's in the rainforest.
As is everything that wants to kill you.
Correct. But when what else it can do is it can kill you. Obviously, its venom is very fucking potent. But along with that, it also has the speed of a huntsman spider, so it is fucking fast, like really fast. But along with that, it can jump.
Yeah.
It can, and I was watching a video.
I'm not bothered about meeting this.
I was watching a video on Brave Wilderness.
I'm wandering around.
Have you ever watched Brave Wilderness?
No.
Coyote Peterson, the guy that stings himself with everything.
I've heard of a bloke that is obviously lacking brain cells.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his name.
Yeah, so he went on the search for Brazilian wandering spider, and when they were trying to pick it up, because they found one, when they were trying to get it in a capsule to look at it, they tried to coax it in, and as they were trying to coax it in, it crawled on top of the box that they were trying to put it in, or the little tub. It leaped off of the tub, started running towards the cameraman, but what you could see was it wasn't just running like flat on the ground. It was like going bam, 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 like little jumps while moving. It was terrible. It was awful to watch. I was watching it and I was like, how is that cameraman staying calm and not screaming?
If I'm that cameraman, I'm fucking launching.
I'm turning round and I'm like,
that camera's getting projectile straight at that stupid little thing.
Yeah, they are awful.
It's so funny though that spiders are quite possibly. I would be interested to see what the most common fear is. It would be one of heights, spiders. Probably heights and spiders, I would say, would be the two most likely fears. And a lot of people that have one have the other. Well, death is far more understandable. Or it's a bit more arbitrary in this case. Yeah. And I think, actually, death is almost a derivative of this, in the sense that you're scared of heights. Why? Because if you fall, you die. You're scared of spiders. Why? Because some of them are poisonous and they kill you. So the death kind of has its place here. But for the most part, I mean, us certainly in England, you're never going to see a spider that's going to do you any harm.
No.
Even the most horrible little barn residing, I mean, when I've worked with Dad, he has seen some fucking things in it when he's been working in a barn where you've got to dust off all this old archaic thing that hasn't been painted for 15 years.
Yep.
You've got these massive spiders that would give some of the horrible ones that you want to stay away from a run for their money, but they're not going to kill you. There's nothing that spider can do to you. It can't pinch you enough to hurt you.
No.
And yet, I don't want that anywhere near me. I don't want that within a mile radius of me.
I think it's because, personally, I don't really, in my opinion, I think we're all terrified, well, not all of us, but the majority of us are terrified of spiders because of how many legs they have.
Yeah, they just look strange.
Nothing should be allowed to have eight legs. Imagine us with just eight of these things.
It's greedy. They don't need all of them.
Yeah, they don't, do they?
They don't need all of them.
No. But, yeah, I was, speaking of massive spiders, I was at work cleaning out the office. Literally stripped everything out of it, cleaned the floors, did everything, right? And bearing in mind, this hasn't happened for quite a while. There are, like, pieces of equipment in the office that literally hadn't been touched for years. Literally years. Way before I joined. Hadn't been cleaned, like, before, never been stripped down, etc. I took it all out. 3 chunky spiders just start scurrying all over the floor.
Fuck that.
Bearing in mind, it's like 6 a.m. I've been awake for about an hour. And I'm already having to battle my worst fear. Yeah, no, literally. One of them tried climbing up the wall, and I was like, no! I teeped it on the wall.
Get out.
Yeah, but the thing is, I had to make sure I killed them all. Yeah. Because if I hadn't have killed them all, they would have escaped onto the poolside. They would have gone into the pool. I don't think any member wants to be swimming and then just see some massive fucking, like...
I don't know. I have to say, I don't think it caused as much issue as you're describing here. In my head, I immediately had this idea of the pool being overrun by one 25-foot spider moving through. I think they probably go, oh, spider. It's not going to survive. It's in a pool. It's going to die.
Some spiders do.
I bet they wouldn't survive. What, in chlorine?
Well, not necessarily chlorine, but I mean, like, they create air bubbles, don't they, around themselves?
Yeah, I think
More air bubbles.
I think they're going to get murked.
They're going to get murked. Yeah, no, they I killed them all.
Good.
I'm a murderer.
Good. Well, on that confession, let's wrap it up.
We are going to wrap up. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
No,
Thank
you're
you very
welcome,
much.
man. It's been nice.
Good.
I've enjoyed this. It's been
I
great.
have enjoyed this. It's
been great because I haven't been in front of a camera
How
for
long have we been going?
time.
Hour and 15 minutes. That's a pretty good.
Jeez, that's a good run.
Say goodbye. See you later, people.
Ciao, ciao, people.